Hello, my dear students. Now, here, after a long time, we have met. Okay, so previously we have completed our fourth lesson, starting from first lesson. Okay, first, second, third, fourth, and now here we are going to start with our next lesson, that is fifth lesson. Okay, so do you know what is the name of your fifth chapter? Yes, obviously, it has a name, that is separation of substances. Okay, so in this today's session, we are going to see the separation of substances. What is the separation of substances? Means if there is any substance, okay, means two substance get mixed with each other, then we called it as a substances, okay, or we called it as a mixture of substances. Okay, so what we have to do in this chapter, we have to separate that mixture. Means now whatever that two substance get mixed with each other, we are going to separate them okay, that's particular substances. So here for that purpose we are learning that fifth chapter, that is separation of substances. But my dear students, before of starting the lesson, may I tell you some keywords, because it is very important while learning that particular lesson. You may come across with some words, and it is very important to know its meaning. Okay, so without knowing the meaning of particular words, you cannot understand the particular lesson. So let's clear with this. Now see, first of all, I have collected some words here from your chapter, which is very important to know you. And here, first of all, we will just try to know that concept, okay, and its definition. Means simply we will know that word and its meaning, okay. And in that particular lesson, when I'm teaching you and when I'm explaining you that lesson, then only I will explain you that term in detail, okay. But first of all, just we will overlook that all concept once before starting the chapter, okay. So here, first of all, I have written here the word evaporation. Do you know that what is evaporation? I think you might have learned that word. I think you might have heard that word in your previous class related to water lesson. Okay, means when you learn that water lesson, other things which is related to the topic water, there you can find the two concepts, that is evaporation and condensation. Okay, so that are two words which is related to water, means liquid. So what is that evaporation? Now here the meaning of this word, the evaporation, is nothing but it is the process, okay. It is one process of changing liquid into vapor, okay. Means on heating, when liquid changes into the vapor, we call that process as a evaporation. Do you find that concept daily when you are just making the tea, when you are just boiling the liquid, boiling the water for bathing? For that purpose, when you keep the pot or anything on your gas or stove, okay, you find that after some times the water gets start boiling, okay. Means water starts boiling, and while boiling that water, it will means where some steams, okay, we can call steam or vapors, will come out of that particular pot or from that water, okay. So that is nothing but that liquid getting changed into the vapor. So what that process is known? Yes, that process is known as a evaporation. So let's clear with this. Okay, no problem. Now let's turn to the next process, that is filtration. What is filtration? You know, when daily now in the pandemic situation, also today during that COVID-19, everyone is just finding the good food, good water for their health, okay. Means now we are not drinking that any other waters, we are just drinking that boiled water or filtered water, okay. Means filtered water means what? We are just making or separating that impurities, means whatever the impurities that is in that water, means present in that water, just we are going to separate that all impurities from that water, and here that process is known as a filtration, okay. So what is that filtration? Filtration means the process of removing impurities by passing the mixture through the membrane, okay. So that is nothing but the filtration. Now here the next process is hand picking. Hand picking is generally used, and you find that your mother always take some rice, take some wheat, and just when she has to make or have to grind that all wheat or rice, then she used to pick or just find some impurities, whether there are some impurities means like a stone, stalks, husk, like which is present in that particular wheat or rice, and then she separate that stone from that particular wheat. So that is nothing but by what process or by what thing she separate that stone from that wheat. Yes, she separate that stone by her hand only, okay, and just picking that stone by her hand and just throwing that stone away from that particular wheat, okay, or rice we may say. So that is nothing the process of hand picking, means to separate large components from the mixture or from the particular mixture with the hands only, okay. So that is why this process is known as a hand picking, okay. So let's clear with this one also. Okay, very good. Now see here, the next process is saturated solution. Now here this is also related to water, means what is saturated solution here? The solution which cannot dissolve more of a substance in it, means we can call whatever the solution is there which is unable to dissolve a lot of substances in it, then that type of solution we call it as a saturated solution, okay. So you may clear this term also in the chapter, okay. When we go come across with that particular situation, again we will see that in detail, okay. Now just shortly we are seeing that all concept. Now here the next word is sedimentation. Now I already told you what is sedimentation, condensation and all this in a previous lesson, okay. Still we will overlook it. What is sedimentation? Sedimentation is the process of setting or depositing of impurities at the bottom. You know, sometimes when we take some we can call wheat or rice, anything, and when we just pour some water in that particular rice, okay, take one pot and then keep some rice in that pot, okay. Just try one activity by yourself also, you will get what is sedimentation. Then whatever that impurity means heavy material, we will consider that rice is nothing but the sand, okay. In place of rice just take the sand. All that mud which is applied to that sand will come upper side, means will come at the floor, okay. And that whatever the heavy particle is there, sand will settle down at the bottom only. So that is nothing but everything happened with the big substances also, means like impurities, okay. So the process of setting or depositing of impurities at the bottom is nothing but the sedimentation. So have you clear with this one also, guys? Okay. So now next process is sieving. What is sieving? The process of removing impurities from the mixture with the help of sieve. Now this process is generally fine when your mother cooks chapati for you, okay. So before just baking that chapati or making that all cooking, she take that wheat flour, okay. And for that wheat flour she just make the use of some round like a thing, okay. We call it as a means when we are just pouring that tea through that strainer, no. So that type of round color round shape strainer we can call it as, okay. So through that thing she will separate that husk, we can call husk, from that wheat, okay, wheat flour, okay. So whatever that wheat flour is there, your mother first of all will make that all impurities separated from that wheat flour, okay. So this is nothing but the process of sieving. You will find that sieving process also when in the chapter, okay. You will find some pics also, so that you get clear with that concept also. Now see here, the next one is solution. So what is solution? Solution means what? Mixture of two or more components. What is the mixture? What is the solution? Solution is the mixture of two or more components. Suppose we are just taking a glass here, and here I am applying that I'm just pouring some water in it, okay. Now here I have poured some water, and again I am pouring some salt also, then lemon, squeezing some one lemon in that, then pouring some water, or again salt, we can say salt, sugar, everything, and I am making the lemon juice here. So now what is that all think we will call generally? In place of call just taking the name one by one, that salt is there, sugar is there, water is there, and everything like that, we will generally call this is the solution of lemon. Okay, means mixture of two or more components. Means I have now what is the two or more components here? One is salt, lemon, sugar, water. These are the four substances, okay, which I have mixed with each other and have made the lemon juice. So that lemon juice is nothing but the solution here. So have you clear with this one also? Okay, now the next one is churning. Churning means what? Shake in a machine in order to produce better. Now this is also you will get very clear with the chapter, okay, by finding some pics. So here what is condensation? Opposite to evaporation, there is a condensation. In evaporation we find that, what we find in evaporation, do you remember that? Okay, means liquid changes into vapor, it is called evaporation. But here conversion of vapor or gas into the liquid means opposite to evaporation, there is a condensation. In condensation you have found out, in evaporation you have found that there is a conversion of liquid into water vapor, but here that water vapor or gas will turn into the liquid. So that is nothing but the opposite of evaporation is nothing but the condensation only. Okay, and the last one is decantation. What is decantation? The process of separation of liquid and solid. Means here the process of where you are separating that liquid and solid from each other, that process you will generally call it as a decantation. So have you clear with all that concept, my dear students? Okay, so I hope that you will understand that all meaning, all words and its meaning also, means keywords which come across, you might have come across in that chapter while you have read that. Okay, and maybe we will come across with that. Now here let's start to our chapter directly. Okay, so now before of that, in the Zoom classes I have explained you some examples also, and even we have taken some introduction regarding to your daily life where you find that. Okay, now here generally we will see what is the separation of substances. Okay, let's start to our topic. Now in our daily life there are many instances when we notice a substance being separated from the mixture of materials. You know, there are many materials. Generally if you take that tea, okay, when your mother or when you are also making tea for yourselves or some guest when they will come to your home, you will generally make tea for them. Okay, now here we have mixed that tea by using the tea leaves, then water, then milk and everything. Okay, so when you find that in that mug now there is a tea, but in that tea we can call some impurities, not we will say impurities, but some unwanted substances are there, like this one. No, you are finding here that strainer, whatever that unwanted substance which is tea leaves. Okay, that is tea leaves present in that strainer. Okay, so that we don't want in the tea. So that's why we are just making and separating tea from tea leaves by using that strainer. Okay, so here is the best example. While preparing tea, means in that particular figure you are finding that how we have separated tea from tea leaves. Okay, so tea leaves are separated from the liquid with the strainer. Now here there are many things that where you can use that things to separate your wanted substance from unwanted substance. Okay, now here we have seen about tea leaves, how we have separated tea leaves from liquid, from tea, liquid means tea, by using strainer. Now similarly grain is separated from stalks. Now do you know what is stalks? Whatever, suppose wheat is there. Okay, wheat is there, to that wheat there is a yellow color part over it. Okay, so that yellow color part over that wheat, it is called stalks. Okay, stalks. So grain is separated from stalks. Grain is nothing but not only wheat, you can take rice also. For rice also you will find that there is this quite yellow part over it. Okay, so same thing happened about jowar or wheat. Okay, so that is nothing but that part is known as a stalks. So while harvesting, now you can, means grain is separated from stalks while harvesting. So how can we separate from how can we separate that stalks from that particular grains? By the process of harvesting. Okay, so next thing is there, milk and curd is also there, which is churned to separate the butter. Means now here, for separating means in order to get the milk or curd, we just use that. Which process we use for separating that one from that particular butter? That process is known as a churning. Okay, this is known as a churning. So generally we just have seen that in keywords. Again, we gain cotton to separate its seeds from the fiber. In the previous chapter, fiber to fabrics, we have seen that how can we separate that cotton, whatever that cotton is there. Okay, so how we have separated that cotton from its seeds? By the process of gaining. So here gin, gain is nothing but the, here that word gain, you are finding that word gain here. Okay, so this gin, gain means process of gaining, we can call process of gaining. So have you remembered that what is the gaining? Separating the seeds from the particular cotton. It is, that process is called as a gaining, which we already have learned in our previous chapter. So have you clear with this one also? Now here, why we are learning that all? Means we are learning the ways. Okay, just we are taking some daily life examples. In your daily life, you find that you are just separating tea from tea leaves, you are just separating grains from the stalks, you are just separating milk and curd from means butter from the milk and curd, like that. Also you are separating seeds of that cotton by a process of gaining. Okay, so everything that we find in your daily life, and that is nothing but we are doing the separation of our substances. Again, they have said you here one thing, perhaps you might have eaten salted dalia or poha. Okay, so if you found that it has chilies in it, you may have carefully taken them out before eating. Now if someone have given you the pohe, okay, generally in your daily life you eat at breakfast time, you make that pohe, your mother generally cook it. Okay, so even everyone likes that poha, but in that poha, when that chilies, green chili or red chili will come, what you do generally, you will separate that chili from that poha, and then you will keep that chili aside and will eat that pohe only. Right na? So it means what, you don't want that chili because it is hot. Already you know, children don't like that hot substances because it is very hot and you can't eat it. Okay, so that's why you will separate that chili from that poha, and you will only eat that poha instead of that chili. So that is nothing but you can do it by your hand only. You can separate by your fingers or by your hand, you can separate that chili from that poha. Okay, so suppose you are giving a basket containing mangoes and guavas and asked to separate them, what would you do? Pick out one kind and place them in a separate container, right? Yes, obviously it is right. Means sometimes if I given you a basket, okay, one basket like that, and if I said these are the mangoes and these are some guavas, okay, and when I have mixed that all guavas and mangoes within one thing, and if I given another basket, and if I said that put here a mango in that basket and put a guavas in that another basket, obviously you will find the shape and the color of that particular guava and mangoes, and easily you can separate the guavas also, and mangoes also, and then guavas also. So in that way you can easily separate it, right? Yes, obviously right. Now seems easy. How you seems that? How you find that? It easy na? Yes, obviously it is easy, because to separate that large substance, it is very easy to identify which one is the mango and which one is the guava. But if sometimes, means when you do that, but what if the materials we want to separate are much smaller? Means when you find that whatever the material are there which is much smaller, means than mango or guava, means sometimes you find na some substances are there which is very smaller, that you can't find through your naked eyes. So at that time what we can do, imagine you are given a glass. So imagine you are given a glass of sand with the salt mixed in it. Really? Is it possible? Do you think that when we are just taking a glass here, and here I am mixing the sand in that, like that, okay, and again I am mixing the salt in that, okay, so here if I am adding salt and here I am adding sand in that in that particular glass, is it really, means is it really possible, or seems very easy to separate that salt and sand from each other? No, it is quite impossible, we can say. Even we can apply liquid in that, but you will not, means even by pouring the liquid also, that salt will easily dissolve in that liquid and you will get only sand but not that salt. So this is just a impossible thing, okay. Means for what it is impossible? When when you find that substance is very smaller, means much smaller, like a sand, or sand, or you can take the salt also, okay. So even to think of separating salt from this mixture by picking out grains of sand by hand, okay. So even if you think that now I will use the hand picking method and will separate that sand from that particular salt, so it will take a lot of time. Even if you will do it, no problem about that, but it will take a lot of time. So what is that? It is just quite impossible and boring thing. We can call waste of thing, okay, waste of time. That one, which you find that very boring and easy, means quite we will say impossible thing. So but why would we need to separate substances like this at all? It is what Paheli wants to know. That the girl, she is asking one questions and we're just curious about why there we need to separate the substance like this at all. Means, do you think that is there a really need to learn that lesson what we are learning right now? डू यू थिंक दैट, आपको लगता है कि ज़रूरी है ये जो लेसन हम पढ़ रहे हैं, दैट इज़ सेपरेशन ऑफ सब्सटेंसेस, आपको अगर लगता है कि मतलब आपको ऐसा लगता है क्या कि ये बहुत ज़रूरी है पढ़ना? यस, obviously it is very important to learn that, because we have to know na for what purpose we are learning that, why we are separating that substances. Just think about, if we haven't means separated substances, just taken a very few example of that one thing, okay. So do you think that it is very necessary to separate the tea leaves from that tea? hmm? Do you think that? Yes, obviously, because if you will not separate that tea leaves from that tea, that taste of the tea will look very worse. Okay, means the guest will go out of the home when they will drink that tea, and even if we also, we will not able to drink that tea. Okay, so we will found that tea very bad, and it tastes also very bad, and you cannot chew that tea. Okay, you have to drink that tea. So even if you mix that tea leaves within that teas, you have to chew that tree, okay, by your teeth. You cannot drink that tea. So that is here, for that purpose we need the separation of substances. Not only about tea and tea leaves, you can take example of grains also, milk and curd also, and everything that you are finding. To this poha also you can take an example, okay. So for that everything here we need the separation, we need to learn the separation of substances, that what the paheli that girls want to know. So do you also want to know that? Okay, so in the next topic we will see and start from that activity number 1. Okay, so from that activity we will start that, is there a really need to learn that substances means separation of substances, and how we can separate that substances more. So in this today's session we will just try to know that everything, an introduction regarding to our fifth chapter, that is separation of substances. So I hope that you have understood that daily life example like this churning also, this grain separating chilies from pohas and everything, okay. So you also have to find out some more examples just today. Once observe, starting from your morning life to evening life, evening time, to your mother also, or to any person which is present in your house, whether they are just using that here, that part or that things, okay. Now in generally you find that in the serial of Krishna and Radha, you will find that Natkat Krishna will use that, okay, means the mother of that Krishna will use that type to make the makhan, okay, for Krishna. So that is nothing but this this whatever the here no you are finding that rounding thing, okay, rounded thing like that, having wooden, and then at below it is like a round shape, okay. So by that thing we will separate that, okay, means butter is taken out. By that thing we will separate that butter, okay, by churning milk or curd. So in that way that Krishna will eat that all butter which is his favorite, okay. So in that way you will find out there are many process that Krishna's mother will not do it, but also your mother will also do it, okay. Even though your mother also do that, your mother also find that tea leaves separating, poha also, and everything, okay. So find some more examples today, and then make a list of that examples and then send me to me on my personal WhatsApp number, so that I will get to know that have you observed really that is there any need of separations, okay. So in the tomorrow session we will continue that part, that is from activity 1, okay. So for this today it's okay with this, you just have to remember everything what I have learned to you, and just remember that keywords specially, okay students. So thank you, and here have a nice day.